Hi everyone. Thank you all so much for being here tonight to celebrate Jack and Nicole's wedding. Wasn't that an amazing ceremony? I couldn't imagine a ceremony more perfect for Jack and Nicole. Nicole, you're looking snatched, and Jack, you are clearly the trade of the season. We've already had a wonderful introduction from Frankie, but just to reiterate, my name is Tara, and I am Nicole's maid of honour. But I've actually known Jack since we were kids. We were raised in the same area and went to brother and sister high schools. As it was sort of alluded to in the quiz, we also went to karate classes together. That's where we both got our respect on the regular. Got to keep us humble somehow. During our final years of high school, I invited Jack to come along to a community choir that I'd recently joined. He was keen to give it a go, which was great, because that same choir is where he would later meet Nicole years later.
Hi everyone, I am Albert, as Frankie just announced. I'm Jack's best man, but also one of Nicole's best buds. Nicole and I met when we started work at a company called Dynamite on November 27, 2017. Remember, the second quiz is going to But it was only 2 days later at the after-work drinks that I met Jack for the first time. Not in person, but it might as well have been with just how vivid Nicole's retelling of their relationship was. So yeah, nice to meet you then, Jack. Yeah, the rest was pretty much history. With our shared interest in scary movies and Nicole's diabolical plan to add me, a famously introverted person, to every single extracurricular activity that she was part of, our lives became inextricably intertwined. And I really wouldn't have had it any other way, honestly. One of these activities just so happened to be the same choir that Tara and Jack were also a part of.
When thinking about what to say in this speech, I went through some old Facebook messages with Jack. And I managed to find the messages from the time when Jack and Nicole first met at choir. And the choir castle group chat with me, Jack, and another girlfriend of ours. In May 2017, Jack said, "Guys, I have a big crush on Nicole." Don't really know it, guys, but just sort of cheer anyway. Spoiler alert, only 2 weeks later, he was sending us screenshots of their messages, along with, and I quote, "Guys, help, what's going on here?" Nicole and I became friends around this time, having lunches together in the city and doing activities with our group of choir buddies. Although I'm sure that choir stuff was also just an excuse for Jack and Nicole to spend some time together.
The four of us ended up living together as flatmates from around 2019 to only very recently. And we spent all of the Auckland lockdowns together. So let's just say we got to know each other very well.
From nights where we all dressed up for the ballet that was streaming on YouTube, to tropical themed nights where Jack made us his famous daiquiris, to wine tasting sessions where we got to meet the French sommelier and got to taste the delicious Cotta-Ass wine, courtesy of Jack, to self-care Saturdays where we would all put on face masks while watching movies together.
To Jack and I sharing the common area as an office space for what must have been months. And an achievement that Nicole and Jack tried to replicate later, but failed after only half a day, with Nicole quickly retreating back to the tranquility of her bedroom office.
Wow. I think half a day is actually being generous. I think it was more like 1 or 2 hours tops. The four of us have also been on various awesome flat trips together, usually at least 90% planned by Nicole, probably 100%, let's be real. Together we've been from the tippity top of the North Island to the very bottom of the South Island. We've also done 2 multi-day hikes together. Yeah, after all these years, Jack and Nicole's partnership is so good that they even tag teaming injuries, with Jack getting blisters on the first trip and Nicole getting them on the second. We were all scarred in some way by these experiences, some more physically scarred than others. But we wouldn't have wanted to do those trips with anyone else.
As a couple, Jack and Nicole, or Jackal, have a really unique dynamic. Being 2 very passionate, honest, and outgoing people, neither of them have ever been scared of speaking their minds. This has often led to some very entertaining arguments that Tara and I have unwittingly been dragged into in the car, usually as a result of Jackmaps, proprietary GPS-style software known for its ability to only yell out directions 10 seconds after you were supposed to follow them.
That's alarming.
These arguments would typically end with a "Mom and Dad still love each other, kids" directed to us.
Both Jack and Nicole are incredibly intelligent and talented people. Nicole is a hard worker and a go-getter. When she wants something, she doesn't muck around. She puts in the hard yards and makes it happen. They both have beautiful singing voices, and as I'm sure many of you will have experienced. She's also a very talented artist and has a journal in which she sketches noteworthy events that happened each day. I can't wait to see what she sketches for today.
Jack is a talented storyteller, having already entertained the 3 of us for dozens and dozens of hours with his creative world-building skills and voice acting as the dungeon master in our D&D group. But beyond their many talents and exceptional good looks, Jack and Nicole are both loving, kind, good people, fantastic friends, and they're perfect for each other.
Jack and Nicole, it has been an honour to have witnessed and been a part of your journey together so far, and we look forward to remaining friends for many, many years to come. May you always honour and cherish each other. We wish you both a lifetime full of laughter and happiness and greyhounds. To Jack and Nicole.
We've already set the bar fairly low with the hand motions to the song during the ceremony, so this should be easy. I knew that one day I would be called upon to make observations over the course of life and wisdom and love into this moment. I'm going to try and go without my notes, but I won't do that well yet. And so, fortunately, because Nicole and Jack opted for a 5-year engagement, I've had a bit of time to put some thoughts together. So, before we became parents, I had this misconception that it was like you're handed a lump of clay, and it was up to you and your partner to shape it into this fully formed, responsible adult. Imagine, if you will, that scene from the movie Ghost with Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze, and they're essentially shaping this lump of clay into a beautiful box. Yeah, nah. That's not the way it works. What I've learned over the past 30 years, actually, is that you're handed a clump of dirt, and it has a seed in it, right? And even though that seed is a hybrid of some of the good attributes and less good attributes of you and your partner, it's up to you to water and care for and occasionally gently prune that tree or that plant that comes out of that. And you don't actually get to choose what sort of tree or plant that seed becomes. But that's the magic, right? Out of all the chaos that is life and family, that is diapers and training wheels and a broken arm, with friendships and braces and adolescence and dating, travel and friendships and tears. And yet, much more laughter than tears. In front of your eyes, this seed grows into an incredible human being. And so, when you're with them daily, the changes really are almost imperceptible. They happen so slow. And then they go away for a few months, and the next thing you know, you're giving a speech at their wedding. So, we are here today because of marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today. Sorry, wrong script.
Waiting 3 years to say that.
Today is a celebration of Jack and Nicole uniting their lives and essentially weaving together the roots of our family and their lives. And I just want to say to Jack, welcome. You spent enough time with the Schlichting family to know what you're in for. As the saying goes, you're not just marrying the bride, you're marrying the bride's family, and so you've been warned. We couldn't be happier to adopt you, to enfold you, to encourage you. Sometimes we will, in fact, overwhelm you, but that's how we show our love. You're one of us, and it also means that I now have to increase my Facebook number of friends from 3 to 4, which is a big deal. Jack knows. But don't forget. Right? Nicole. Oh my dear. Okay. Your mom and I have always encouraged you to make good choices. And we are so happy with Jack, you finally listened. You know how very proud your mom and I are of you and the woman that you've become. Words fall short. We love you so. To Jack and Nicole, okay. Don't laugh now. Honor each other. And I know that's become a bit of a meme, but it really is the best life-lived advice that we can offer you. Celebrate each other, forgive each other, honor each other, inspire each other, commit to each other. You are so well meant for each other, and we pray a rich life blessed with love, laughter, music, happiness, contentment for you in this marriage. So, for all of you, charge your glasses. I've always wanted to say that. As I hand off to Lee, we're going to do some toasts.
I'm cheating. All right, everybody got the glass ready? Because we have some folks to acknowledge and toast. First of all, you alluded to this, I guess you did, in the ceremony. We want to honor some of our most recently passed, the generation before us, our parents. Walter and Rosalie Schlichting and Jack and Ted Estes. And they would love to have been here today to celebrate Nicole and Jack with all of you. And we just want to acknowledge their love and their presence, their influence, and their legacy in us and their love through us to you too. So here's to Walter and Rosalie and Jack and Ted. And by the way, my dad, Jack, Estes, would have tickled that Nicole chose a guy named Jack, particularly this Jack. So Karen, thank you for overriding Elvis. Yeah, right. So, okay, Warren and LaDanne, we're really glad you flew a long way to be here. Thanks for being the Schlichting family contingent here.
Wouldn't have missed it.
And truth be told, we would not all be here tonight if it weren't for my old friend Warren from New York, who on his birthday, March 8th in 1987, invited his younger brother Jeff to New York to celebrate. So we met on March 8th. Warren set in motion these unforeseen events, and 6 years later in 1993, March 8th, Nicole shows up.
Birthday buddy.
So cheers to Warren. Emma. Cheers to our charming Emma, who, when she arrived on the scene, yanked Nicole from center stage. That was a pretty big deal. And Nicole thankfully pivoted and became the big boss, big sister, to the most agreeable, adorable sidekick you've ever seen. And fortunately, after some years of butting heads, the two of them have become pretty close sissies. So cheers to Sister Emma. Okay, Ed and Karen. Thanks for being, as Jeff had this kind of plant thing, so we thank you for being the loving, garden tending family for Jeff. And all the love and care you've invested in him, all of you tenders, and how you have embraced and enfolded Nicole and cared for her as well. So we're thrilled at the joining of the Tinnings and Schlichting Fano. That's so easy, isn't it? So cheers to all the Tinningses. Jack. Hugh. Hugh, yay. Finally, someone who gets Nicole. Seriously. We admire how you love and honor, I really do honor all of them. That fierce determination, her sensitivity, her wit, her passion, get the whole package. And that's important. And we acknowledge that. You lift her up, you actually mentioned that in the vows today, and this was written way before that. But you lift her up and you make her better. And you do that through kindness and a strength of character that we really admire. So we love you and cheers to you. Nico. Okay, at 6 weeks old, the baby book told us that you were in utero the size of a grain of rice. So you became the rice baby. And 30 years on, you're an accomplished, talented, passionate young woman full of ideals and goals that we support, and we're so proud of the woman you've become. You still manage to make us laugh, and that's important as well. And we just want to say cheers to the beautiful rice baby. And to you together.
Rice baby.
Can we still call it?
Rice baby. I've been waiting a long time for that. Italian, ancient.
Nicole and Jack, we celebrate you two today, and we wish you a full, loving, healthy, and impactful life together. We love you both. Cheers to you. So, finally, we wanted to give you a blessing that's a traditional blessing from the Book of Numbers 6, 24 to 26. It's one I remember from my childhood, and apparently the one that Grandpa used to end many of his sermon messages with. And it goes like this. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace.
All I can say is, when the fuck did I get so old? It was yesterday that Jack was born, and laugh as you may, time is a bitch. It was yesterday that I walked up the stairs and I put B into the computer, and up came big boobs. Someone had been on my computer. In an age-defiant gesture, Karen and I have adopted a no glasses in the bedroom policy. We gaze at each other in soft focus. We adapt. So, those of you with glasses, please remove them. But of course, it's not all about me. So let's take you on a little ferry ride. It's a beautiful day. We hopped on Fuller's, and we, with Jeff and Lee, we just met Lee. Jeff had many a meal at our house, and it's great to get to know you both, really. And not just as parents, but as wonderful people and friends. So really appreciate that. And we're heading off on the ferry, and we're going to look at locations for the wedding. And, you know, we've got a bit of a buzz going on. And Jack mentions a few things, and I go, Jack, live music? Ooh, you've got to have live music, son. And he's quiet. And next time I hear Nicole whisper to Jack, I told you you'd be like that. So I thought, wow, okay. It always worries me when your kids take on partners that it could be the end of a beautiful friendship with your children. It doesn't take much for a partner to not like a parent. So I was hesitant to offer any more advice, and in fact, I can genuinely say I've done nothing at all. But what I saw in Nicole was a strong woman. She was organized, motivated, decisive, and an exceptional planner. And very clear about what they wanted. And she had an energy and a vision to support that. So it is not a relief that today has been outstanding, it's an expectation. In your kid's life, we receive the order to stand down. There's a new kid in town. My mother told us that as you go through life, after 50, you start becoming a little bit invisible. And you need to make sure that you become a little bit more interesting and you really focus on the purpose of your life. It's really rare to see people at this age have that same vision already and the courage to live that life. Nicole is exceptionally capable. She is highly intelligent, and although they say the bride looks beautiful, I've decided to call her radiant and spot on. She lives her life with my favourite word, zest. We're very proud of the love that she shows my son and us, my wife, and our entire family. Kitchen where I am. The commitment that they're both made to each other now is public. I truly believe we're celebrating a very interesting and unique couple, and it will be a joy for Karen and I to observe their life from afar. I sometimes wonder if he is actually my child, Jack. But when he just gesticulates with his hands, he removes any doubt. Mind you, Jack, it's been a hell of a ride. He came early, and Karen did not even know she was pregnant for the first 4 months. We've been on a diet, a health diet, and Karen kept getting sick in the morning. I said, Karen, for God's sake, lose the bloody diet. And she goes, I'm still freaking sick. And there may be a few things I could learn from my son, such as romantic gestures, an ability to rise above adversity, and a deep confidence of one's abilities and capabilities, and the ability to never need to just fit in. Jack was an interesting child. He did not enjoy his first few days of school because he was sick. We soon found ourselves at Camp Jack. But Jack has a deep desire to understand things. He doesn't just get interested, he gets fascinated. I also got to work with Jack in my clinic. He was my receptionist for a few years as part of the Timmins process of child labour. But everyone loved Jack. Jack was larger than most children. At 2 years old, his auntie was convinced he could read, but we knew he just had the memory of an elephant. He had an interest in all sorts of things, from dinosaurs, music, anatomy, hydropower. He was only 2. And was used by other friends to explain to their children anatomical sexual parts. Big boobies. There were things Jack could do well, and some things he could not. He could wee on every tree. But pooing required a nappy. Standing behind the couch with a red face and remembering he was already almost as big as his mother. He was slow at sport, because you've got to adapt to a big body. But I remember when he went to school with Jared Ballas, who beat him in everything. On the last day of school, Jared comes out of the school, and his mother goes, "How'd you go?" And he goes, "Oh, I came second or third and everything." He says, "Why are you so down?" He said, "Freaking Jack beat me in everything." He caught up. We saw his teacher, because we thought Jack was being picked on. But the school kid, Jack was just bored. He was actually finding this poor bully's artwork and putting his initials on it every day. But there was a special moment in Jack's life when he became Joseph. Just before opening night, the old reflux came back. He goes, I was summoned. Jack refused to go on. And I said to Jack, you know, every now and then in life, you've just got to be brave and go for it. And he looked me in the eye and said, okay. But at the end of that item, with the applause, Jack had found his voice and his love. He did have a wonderful imagination. He believed in Santa till he was 10. There's a photo we had with the kids, and Jack is bigger than Santa. George is terrified of Santa. Charlie never believed in Santa. And Elizabeth's thinking, shit, I look good. But he looks after his family members. But Jack was a tough brother to follow. He cast a very big shadow. I remember when he walked up to school and Tom Gerard pulled me aside and said, Jack, walk down that road thinking, this is my home, I'm the boss. And 7 years later, he was Duck's head boy, and his mate Ben down the end shared the head boy job at the school. Jack had found his little part. But at this stage, I just want to hand over to Charlie.
Thanks, guys. Well, this follows on nicely. I would just like to say that Jack is the eldest of the Timmins children. He, in many ways, forged the path for the rest of us. So much so that at the beginning of the year, all 3 of my siblings were working at the same company. Not me though. But despite me not following in Jack's footsteps career-wise, I've tried my best to emulate him in other aspects of life. For example, when Jack was diagnosed with diabetes at a young age, I became so envious of the attention that he was taking away from me that I too became diabetic. And when I saw him singing as Joseph, garbed in a magnificent Technicolor Dreamcoat, I too wanted to become a singer, and I did. But they only gave me a short hat. But today, it wasn't the first time that Jack and I had sung together at a wedding. We also sung for an old teacher about 15 years ago. And I think we'd both agree that at that point in time, I was the stronger vocalist. But yeah, over the years, our roles have changed. And Jack also inspired me on the sports field. On Saturday afternoons, after our games of soccer, we'd compare goal tallies. And Jack would always beat me out. It wasn't until later I found out that his goals were for the other team. I see my life as a series of failed attempts to live up to the standard that Jack has set in our family. Jack, he's a man of great character and a great deal of accomplishments. So I'd just like to inform you all that next month I will be moving to California so that I too can find an American wife.
Testing. Hello. I was told to find an embarrassing story about Jack, and as the youngest sibling, I thought it was kind of hard to try to remember anything embarrassing about him. Until I thought about it a bit, actually. You see, back when I was 10 years old, or 10 or so, Jack was at the height of his popularity. Year 15, Ross Me, he was the head boy. And he asked me to do a Skater Boy parody photo shoot for Facebook. And the normal level-headed response to this would be, what a tosser. I idolise my brother though, so I did it without complaint. He was in a snapback, sunglasses, Vans, jeans, the whole assortment, even the best looking skateboard from the shed. And I did it without complaint. And it taught me a valuable lesson in hindsight, something that I've only realised in 10 years or so time on. Self-awareness and keep a low digital footprint. Well, that's not just it. He's been giving me lessons for a long time. First in high school, first in uni, first out getting a job, and now here he is, first one being married. He's always been a leader for the rest of our siblings, so thank you, Jack.
Do start nibbling on your meals. We're a big family, got a lot to go yet.
I figured as Jack's sister, I'll tell a nice, sweet story. So Jack has always been a bit of a hopeless romantic. When I was year 9 at Carmel College, Jack was head boy with Ben at our brother's school, Rosmini College. And one day I walked into school to find a big commotion on the netball court, and I was a pretty confident little kid, and I was like, what's going on? So I barged through everyone in the crowd and got to the front to see, there was probably about 100, maybe 150 girls crowded around Jack. And I see Jack holding a massive bunch of roses, saying the words, "Will you go to the prom with me?" Of course she said yes, because who could refuse such a proposal? And I'm very glad that Nicole will now be the subject of all future romanticisms. Congratulations.
Jack has always been supremely confident that he is actually a superhero. And in kindy, he decided he was Buzz Lightyear. He had the full dress-up outfit, including wings, that Eddie brought back from London. And at that time, he would sit there and they would call out Jack, and he would vaguely look around. Teacher would sigh and then say Buzz, and he'd say, "Here!" And his confidence went so far that he thought he could actually fly. So one day he jumped on the top of the car and threw himself off. Of course, landed on the ground with a big crash and injured his elbow. And he thought, his confusion was that he hadn't actually flown to the stars to reach infinity and beyond. But he couldn't understand how he had hurt his arm, because he was so disappointed that he wasn't flying. So we're so delighted that Jack, our little superhero, has finally met his wonderful woman and that they're married. And we're very excited to watch their journey to those stars, to infinity and beyond. And we love you, Nicole, and we're going to enjoy seeing how this adventure of life pans out for you too, and see where you end up. So congratulations today.
Keep moving, I'm still going, got a little bit to go yet. I did want to do a special thank you to Jack's and my wife's parents, Brian and Maureen. Maureen spent hours and hours and hours reading to Jack and the other kids, and that's why scholastically they did so well. She was so determined, and Brian just came down because he loved the dog. But Brian is somebody who has the most optimism on life. He always looks and sees the best in everyone. And Brian, you've had such a great influence on these guys' outlook. Despite a few challenges, take note of Brian. My mother had to play the role of granny and granddad. My father also looked after Jack when he was young, and he was the sole caregiver while Karen had to go on bed rest. My father would have been very proud of you, Jack. He was highly intelligent, musical, diversely cultured, and had a sincere belief that if you wanted to do something, you could, and you had to. But if you could have just heard you sing and play that trombone, my friend. But Mum always would come down and never missed anything. She'd drive 3.5 hours to hear Jack sing, hop back in the car and go back again. And when we went on holiday, she took on a role of a few diabetics, a few celiacs, and she was scared, and she never, ever pulled out. Thank you, Mother. I also wanted to take a minute to talk about Jack's mother, Karen, who today calls herself Kate when she picks up takeaways. Instead of being the middle-aged, moaning Karen. But she's been everywhere with Jack as a diabetic. All his camps, she gave up her own career to push and follow. She got up every single night at 1:30 in the morning, put a little headlight on her forehead, wandered downstairs and took a finger prick on Jack to make sure that when he grew in his developing years, diabetes never caused a problem. And it's a lot simpler now, it's a lot more manageable now, but Karen did that for over 1.5 decades. So let's have that. It's both wonderful and hard watching your kids grow up and head on their own journeys. We were once their superheroes. We could do no wrong. I would drive home and Jack would go into a frenzy trying to get to the door to see where I was coming in. As he got older, he'd be wearing his togs. We'd go to the beach or the lake. We'd always do an adventure. And on Wednesdays we had movie night and my little boy would sit next to me and lean on me the whole way through the movie. And then one day all that shit stops. They teach us about unconditional love and they teach us about humility. And then they remind us our best years are past us physically. Just to be here today, I have a knee brace on, a couple of compression socks, and some Panadol to hit me on the dance floor. But then Karen reminded me we haven't lost a son. We've gained a daughter and her fantastic family. We've gained a bigger table to drink at and celebrate big moments and sometimes no moments. We've got someone else in our corner who's strong, intelligent, determined, who loves our son as much as we do. How fucking good is that? So before I finish, I'd like to invite you all to be upstanding in a toast to Kate, also known as Karen. She is quite possibly the greatest mother ever. She is bright, gorgeous, determined, selfless, and I still think pretty damn hot. Even with my glasses on. And thank you for taking the baton. To Jack and Nicole, Nicole's family, what a wonderful event.
Growing up with a sister who is a serial dater, we have a lot of boys that were brought home to meet the parents over the years. But I remember very vividly when Nicole called me to gush about this boy from choir named Jack. And I was so captivated by this image and personality she described that I almost forgot the Danish boy she had moved to New Zealand with. Out of all the men and boys you've introduced to our family, Thank God this is the one you chose for the long run. 'Cause man, he is better than all the rest. And as Shortens, we would not have tolerated any of those other fools. So cheers to Nicole and Jack. You both made a great